In this video, I'm going to talk about who or which businesses should use Google Ads. And there's a couple of basic principles here that I'll talk you through. So the first one is high customer lifetime value. So the idea here is you want to make sure that the service that you're running ads for is a high cost service or high revenue service. So examples of high cost services there can be one-off services such as lawyers, landscapers, roofers, etc., pool installers. So these are high value one-off jobs, or they can be repeat services such as dentists, accountants, self-storage units, lawn care, etc. So these are each visit won't be a lot of money, but over time it adds up. So it makes it completely worth it to run Google Ads. So services that you want to avoid running Google Ads for are low-cost one-off services. So a couple of examples of these. First is gutter cleaning. So why gutter cleaning is a bad idea is that usually you only need that service like once a year, maybe twice a year, but usually once a year. So it's not really worth the investment of the ads to get a one-off job. Another example is a bathtub repair. So again, this is another example of when it doesn't stack up. And I'll talk you through the maths of why it doesn't work. So let's say for bathtub repair, so let's say a cost per conversion for bathtub repair is £10. So it costs you £10 to get to get an inquiry through. Okay. Now, obviously, getting an inquiry on your website for bathtub repair, that's only the beginning. So you've got to convert that into a customer. Let's say you've got a 20% close rate. So that basically 1 in 5 of those inquiries turns into an actual paid job. So it basically costs you £50 to get the job. Now, the problem is, in the case of, say, bathtub repair, the job is only worth £150, let's say. So once you've minused the labour cost, whether that's you doing the work or hiring somebody to do it, and then materials, then fuel to get to the job, let's say, it's just not worth it. Now, it would be if it was £150, if that was a recurring figure, maybe every month or frequently you got that, because then it'd be totally worth it. But it's not worth spending £50 potentially for a low value job. So that is to be avoided. Okay. Now here's an example of a campaign that we ran recently, just to give you an example of. So this is an example of one where it does stack up, because you see over the period of just over 2 weeks, we got 8 conversions. Each conversion is worth £25. Now, working on the 20% close rate, so that's still going to stack up, because this service is a recurring service. It's a self-storage unit business. So typically customers stay for 6-12 months. So and they're paying upwards of £100 a month. So it easily stacks up over time. So it's worth them spending, in this case, £100-120 to get that client, when that client, if they stay for 6 months, they get what, £600-700, etc., etc. So it stacks up, it works out that way. Okay, so that's the first thing to consider: high customer lifetime value. The higher, the better. The second point I want to talk about is sales. And really, this is how good are you or your team at converting a prospective buyer into a customer. So let's say these 8 conversions, these 8 inquiries that came through here, how good are you at actually closing them, right? So we talked about a 20% conversion rate in that example. Now, you might be way lower than that. If you're a 5% close rate, well, then you're not going to be converting that many inquiries into customers, right? And then it throws the maths off completely. So the higher the close rate, the more affordable Google Ads becomes for you. And there's a whole art to doing that. How quickly do you get in touch with them when the inquiry comes through? How persuasive is you or your team? How informative, how effective are you at basically getting them in the calendar, getting them in the diary, and getting the job done, right? How competitive are your prices? All that. So that's way bigger than the topic of this video, but that's a big factor in whether you should run Google Ads. So the first point here was just, are you the type of business where it's going to stack up to actually run Google Ads? But the second point is, how good are you at turning these inquiries into customers? And that's a big deal, right? Hopefully you found that useful and that's giving you something to think about. And if you get any questions or comments, drop them in the comments and have a great day.